This is Morten from English TV, and this time I have the pleasure of talking to a gentleman that I actually tried to get hold of for some time. His name is Eli Greenberg, and he is now the CEO of Scodex. He is also the founder of Scodex. And he is basically based in the Netherlands. So, Eli, welcome to this over the Skype episode. So, how are you today?
Good, Morten. Thank you very much for the call. It's been a while, but I'm good.
That sounds great. The last time I saw you in person, that was in Switzerland when we met at Hunkler Innovation Days. I think there's been a lot of things going on with Scodex since the Innovation Days in Lucerne. Can you bring us a little bit up to speed what you have been up to?
Yeah, we obviously were like in the last 10 years we were expanding rapidly, installing presses. And the good thing that happens when you approach new customers and new market is that you learn also their needs. And during this time, unfortunately, all this COVID situation fell upon us, and we had to also change the direction that we were going to. Speaking about Hunkler Innovation Days, great event for us, one of the most valuable events in terms of return on investment. Hopefully we can meet there again soon.
I mean, one thing is talking about return on investment. You see, from a media perspective, I just like it because I think that is one of the best shows in planning and it's technology. Even Hans Gut, he told me in an interview I did with him, he is not so much champagne and lightly dressed women. It's more about technology, and I think that's what you like too, isn't it?
Yeah. I'm coming from a technological background. Worked for many years in the digital printing industry in Israel, starting from the legendary Cytex, and then many years in Indigo before founding Scodex. And that's the backbone is completely R&D and technology.
Do you have a engineering background, or what is your educational background?
Yeah, I'm an engineer. Yeah. And I worked more than 12 years designing digital presses, starting in Cytex and then Indigo. So
you know your shit.
Yeah.
One of the things I'm a little curious about, because I think that Scodex is obviously not a startup anymore, but when you started and founded Scodex many years ago, you were in a situation where, I mean, of course, Israel has a lot of innovation within the digital printing space, and as you said, your background obviously have some good foundation for that one. But I was wondering, one of the things that have been a little bit of surprise to me, because I have to be honest with you, because I have known Scodex for some years, of course, and we have done a lot of films for you. Thank you very much for your work. But
my pleasure.
When I met you in Lucerne, and that is actually a little bit embarrassing, but I will tell you anyway. I knew that you were important in Scodex, and I knew that you were out of the Netherlands, but I didn't know that you were the founder of Scodex. and I think that one of the reasons why I didn't know so much about that is maybe because you employ people to take care of management, right?
Yeah, the fact that I'm a founder doesn't give me the whole skills that are needed to manage a whole company in different stages. Okay, every stage requires different skills.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing in the Israeli industry, the digital printing, that you have plenty of good people available, let's say, if you need them. And it's relatively easier to find R&D and management people. And Kobe and myself, Kobe is my co-founder, is no longer active in the company, but we decided that we should focus on what we are good at. And with a relatively easy process, we succeeded to hire very good people to run the company next to us and in front of us also.
Maybe your secret is the same as my secret. It's basically that it's more fun to do the fun thing than doing administration and all the boring kind of thing. You said because you just like to be involved in everything that relates to the product as well.
Of course, that's the fun part of it. Making new products, innovation, coming with new things to the market. Administrative, it has to be there. Administration, otherwise the business doesn't run.
Of course.
that's the fun part, and I still enjoy every design review that I'm participating, and every opportunity to put my hands on the press brings me a smile again.
Yeah, and let's talk a little bit about the products for a second. We want to talk about the new products as well, of course. But
Yeah.
before we get to that, I don't know if you can answer this, but I'm asking anyway. How did you get the idea of getting Scodex started in the first place?
I was working for many years I started in Cytex as a student, as an engineering student, and I've seen in live the post-press industry being converted to digital. The pre-press.
Yeah, the pre-press, yeah.
Yes. All the CTPs and the scanners, everything that was requiring a lot of expertise and specialized people has become digital in front of my eyes in the beginning of the 90s. And then I moved to Indigo. Okay.
So now you moved from pre-press to press.
Live, the press itself becoming digital. It was amazing process. It was still Indigo and then became HP during my time there. And I was looking for becoming an entrepreneur and doing things by myself. And it was more or less a natural step to see the pre-press becoming digital, the press itself more and more. It's still not there. I would say that the pre-press is today 100% digital. The press itself depends how you count it, but it's still, I would say 10% there is a concept about this number. But the post-press is still, I've seen in Indigo, beautiful prints, digitally printed, going to hot foil stamping, waiting for 3-4 days for the molds and dyes, and people who are specialized in tuning the hot foil presses and said, okay.
There's an opportunity.
That's it. That's the next thing. And then when we spoke with the potential customers in the beginning, the eyes were shining, bring it to me.
And one thing is identifying the need and talking to potential customers and like that. How was it to get started? Was it it requires funding, it requires the right skills, it requires the right people, and so to execute the idea and starting to make a company out of this, was it as easy as you hoped, or how was that?
far from what I hoped for, but it's a nice journey. It's as we say, running in a roller coaster in the dark. Yeah, Luckily in Israel there's a perfect ecosystem of funding from the government, from leading venture capitals and investors that are coming from this industry, did their money in this industry. They have a lot of knowledge, and we were very lucky to find the right people to back us. We started as a startup, as you mentioned, and our main investors are the really leading people, okay, like Dubi Ofer and Shlomo Shamir, and on the other hand, the leading venture capitals from the US, Sequoia, Lightspeed, Tenne, ICV, more, and so on. So we were very lucky, I think, also in the perfect timing. Find the right people to help us and the right money to support us to grow.
When I saw a Scodex machine the first time, which was actually in Printpak India, I can't remember the year, but I think it must have been relatively soon, maybe first or second generation, I don't know. I was blown away when I saw it. I saw this basketball. We remember that you in your marketing used that drip effects to make sure that it looked like the rubber of the ball. I was blown away because one thing is that you maybe could transform some of the things that you could do analog. But what I really liked was also your opportunity to do things that is not possible in analog. Was that also kind of your vision from the beginning, to do things that was extending the enhancement of printed products?
It came along the way, okay? The first intention was to replace, and this is still our main mission, is to replace the analog, heavy-duty, time-consuming, with a lot of waste processes, like seal screen and hot foil stamping. Luckily, our customers are more creative than we are. And they really did amazing things, and all 99% of the samples that we are using and showing, it's something that we learned from our customers.
So you get a lot of inspiration from demands from customers. As you know, we visited one of your customers less than a month ago, Traffic in Germany, And
Yeah.
I think that Patrick Donner, he said to me that we don't want to do the usual thing. We try to do things that even the vendors are not recommending, like different substrates and like that. And I can imagine that when you need new ideas for R&D, you can just call him, right?
Yeah, calling him, I calling other customers. They use the machine much more than we do. They need to make money out of it in the end, and we do. And
Yeah.
that's the main value of this product is profit generation.
Yeah.
And once you need to make money, especially in those unprecedented times, it's you become creative.
Yeah.
Become creative.
I can't help think about, because when I refer back to when I saw the Scodex machine for the first time, and when I compare it to now, obviously you were I think you were a kind of a first mover in that digital enhancement space, and you have got a little competition from different places in the meanwhile. One of the things I can't help think about is that when I look at the Scodex machines, both the output of it, but also the build quality and everything in it, it seems that you have positioned it as kind of being the Rolls-Royce of digital enhancement. Was that also like intentionally from the beginning that you wanted to be a premium product, both in build quality and also in output?
Definitely, yes. From the beginning, that was our vision, because as a small company, we're good at making, let's say, shorter runs, shorter volumes, smaller volumes of presses, but in a higher quality. We cannot compete with mass production of printers in Asia, okay? But we can position ourselves in the high end of this industry, and that's what we do, by the way, and that's where we are, luckily, after 10 years of selling those presses. And we decided that we have no compromises in the build of the machine, in the selection of the components, any aspect, starting from the service that we give to our customers and ending in the end product that is printed there, is the face of our company. And the funny thing is that I see now quotation coming out from our customers to their customers. They're quoting as Scodex.
Oh, really? Okay, that's nice, right? It's like a Xerox in the old days, or like a Hammond, where you're not referring to organ or photocopiers, right? But fantastic.
We have one case that the customer is quoting the competition on the Scodex, but that's another story.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's you have to live with. So, Eli, one of the things I am also a little bit curious about is that when you are kind of a first mover in a totally new segment in the market, am I right? Were you the first ones to do this, or?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So when you were like first movers in this one, I think that first movers often have to take the beating for. It takes time to get to market. It gets time to get the recognition. It gets time for, the old printers that smell the print and touch it, and is it good enough, thing like that. But you have gone, you have passed that now, right? I think that Scodex is well recognized in the global printing industry, and I was just curious, when you look at your marketing, especially when you go to the trade shows, you always have stunning print samples as part of your promotion. Is that also something that you believe have given you a better precision faster than if you were just focusing on the DPIs and the machine and the speed and the way that normal printing equipment is sold?
Yeah, I think that you need to combine them both. I mean, in big shows, especially like Drupa was used to be, let's say, okay, hopefully it will be again. You need to attract people to your booth. You need people to go in the show with your samples, with the bags branded with Scodex and photos of themselves.
So you extend your marketing presence at shows by having the Scodex bags, right?
Of course.
Yeah.
And that's one thing. But on the other hand, you need to be unique in what you sell, in your products, and you have to be on the top of the performance in this industry. And that's our main focus. Okay, marketing is good, is nice, but it's a tool to sell more equipment that gives value to our customers, and that's the bottom line. And for me, the best thing that we had in the show and in many other shows is customer coming to our booth and giving a positive testimony, without us even asking them to do it. That was amazing. That was a big surprise for me, and that I think that shows the main value of what we do, because we are still a small company and we are still in the same family with our customers.
Yeah.
It's a very intimate relationship, and that's our right of existence, having happy customers.
And a company like Scodex, will it always be a kind of a niche company, or do you think you have a potential of being a really big company as well?
Our intention is clearly to become a very big company in terms of our industry. Okay, we have no plans to go to other direction in the print industry. We have no plans to print colors. Okay, there's enough players there, but in our industry, I think it's big enough for us to grow 10 or 100 times fold. And there's still potential for it. We're still in the beginning of the way, from my point of view. We started, as you mentioned, this product that you've seen in India. It's a typical first generation. What we are selling now is a typical second and third generation. In some ways, you cannot compare the iPhone 12 to the iPhone 3. We are there.
That would be unfair, right?
No, but I mean, we learn a lot, and we deploy it immediately in our products. So
yeah. So okay. So you believe that you have the potential of becoming a big company, and what does it take? Because I mean, I think that everything works in your favor, because everybody's talking about mass customization. Everybody's talking about shorter print runs. Everybody's talking about faster turnaround times. So I think the timing is not too bad, is it?
Specifically talking about these months, and COVID is hard time and tough times to all of us, but luckily we have good investors and board members behind us to back us and to pass this period and this chasm. And yeah, we are on the way to grow. We launched now in September, a few weeks ago, a full new product portfolio, which is definitely not something obvious to do in those days. But we believe that we design specifically the presses for specific markets. So that's at least my philosophy in growing, is to have specific segmented products for specific markets, and not to have one trick pony that does it all. So commercial and specialty printers will have their own presses, and web to print, web to pack have their own family of presses customized for their needs. And obviously packaging, which is our no doubt that's our future and our growth engine, has now a full portfolio of products. Our biggest part in the portfolio is focused on packaging. We have a web to pack press, we have a B2 press, and also two B1 presses. One is the E106, and now also a new Ultra B1. Something new to the market.
So when I spoke to your colleague Robert here a couple of days ago, when we also spoke about talking to you today, he of course mentioned that you have, I think, is it 2 weeks ago you launched the new machines to the market, right? And I was just wondering. One thing is that you say that it's a little uncommon to during the COVID-19 to maybe present such a great lineup of products, but is that what you were expecting to deliver at the Drupa 2020 show, or is it something that has been under development for a longer time, and then is it just the right time now, or why are you doing it now? And let's also talk about what the machines are, right?
The plan, it's part of everything. We're planning to launch an expanded product line in Drupa 2020. And then it was postponed, and I don't know how it will look like. We still plan to be there. We didn't withdraw our attendance from the show. But since we don't know if it will happen and how it will look like, we decided to release it now. I mean, there's no better time than now. I mean,
because the market is a good time now. That's now typically printers invest in equipment, right?
Yeah. And we have also, we had it ready for Drupa more or less. We didn't want to wait more than that, so we decided to release it now.
Sounds like a good plan. So Eli, what is it you have launched? I know you want to talk about it. Now you can do it.
Okay, so it's as I said before, it's a whole series of products based on the well-known platform of the Ultra that we had, but now split into 6 products. Okay, starting from an entry-level Ultra, very basic, smaller footprint, the 1000, and ending up in a B1 Ultra, fully loaded for the packaging. okay, with the full range of options and segmented by the market. So we have a family of products for the commercial printing. Okay, this is still our main market up until now, commercial and specialty. Okay, our sweet spot is the web to print. Our biggest customers are coming from this industry. All the big web to print players in the world have multiple Scodix systems. Okay, I cannot mention numbers and names so much, but that's our sweet spot. That's the highest utilization that we see to our presses, and we design them to work 24/7. They are working 24/7, multiple sites, multiple presses, and we have a full product portfolio now for the web to print and also for the web to pack, which is a growing niche inside this market. And as I said before, the packaging we see definitely is our future. And we are focusing there. We started with the E106 with a very, very high-end and high-cost product. And now we added two more products, the Ultra 5000 and the Ultra 6000, B2 and B1.
Okay. So this sounds like that broadening your offerings seems to me that is part of also how you can create a bigger number of printers buying your equipment, because you can address different segments but also different price tags. And so yes. How has there been any reactions to your launch yet, or is that too early to talk about?
We launched it 2 weeks ago. We received very good feedback from our dealers and sales guys. Recently, a week ago, we closed a very nice deal in Germany, a 2-press deal, B1 and B2. I will not mention names yet, thank you, but it's a...
Okay, but if I have to mention 8,000 printing companies before you say yes, that takes a long time, so you can just tell me, Ali. That's much better. No, I'm just kidding.
We have time, I have time, it's okay.
So 2 weeks ago you launched, and already now you see interest in the market for these machines. Is that because the offer? I mean, is it because you have these 6 different models that approaches different markets that you have got this instant reactions, or is it more because the market is maturing and understand the value of digital enhancement?
It's both, and we widened the spread of our products, the specs, and also the pricing. So we have a more entry-level presses, which helps those who were hesitating if they want to jump inside this digital enhancement world or not. And on the other hand, we put an Ultra B1 product in between the E106 and the Ultra 2000 family, which helps the packaging companies to start doing digitally enhancement without too big investments. So,
and I must
perfect provision.
Yeah, and I must say that also some of the print samples I've seen that you have done on packaging is simply stunning, because I think that, again, as I said before, one thing is, of course, how it looks, but as you mentioned, it's also the economy. I have read some reports, maybe not this month, but maybe last month, where there were some reports quoting that in times of the COVID-19, how packaging looks has become an even more important thing. Even when you sell it online, that you have packaging, that you can, you have the tactile of the packaging, but you also have the foils and the varnishes and the way it looks of it. Is that something where you? It's a kind of leading question, but is that something where you obviously you have investigated into this market? Do you think that the packaging converters are interested in also bringing these services in a digital format to their customers, or how or is it a new approach to the market in your opinion?
I think that converters, when they sell the product to their end customers, the digital or analog, it doesn't really matter. Okay. They want to replace first an existing process, and that's where we are focusing at.
Okay. So just to understand,
the better price and more flexibility, because short runs are getting smaller. Yeah. Inventory is getting more expensive, and they want to offer the same with less costs. That's our main spot.
Okay. So just to understand, you're 100% correct. So basically, the first objective for Scodix is to not be an add-on to the converters, but to replace
Yeah.
analog equipment. Yeah. Okay.
We want to be mainstream of the packaging industry. Just adding value or digitalization is nice to have. We want to be in the longer runs.
Okay.
That's where we are.
And if you look at the KPIs for a converter, for example, is that price per unit, or is it not the Scodix machine, but the operational cost, or is it speed, or what is the main things in your opinion for this kind of thing?
There are some things that has to be, let's say, given. Okay, the quality has to be the same, otherwise there's no discussion. And I think that we can match and even exceed the quality of the existing processes today. So that's the first barrier. Once you are not there, there's no discussion. But once you pass this gate, the economy talks.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's combination of all: the cost per page, the utilization of the press, consumables, service, everything. From our experience, and it varies per market and country and pricing, almost every job below 10,000 sheets, we can compete and beat analog.
Really?
Analog, yes. Because the foil is foil, and the setup cost, especially in hot foil stamping, which is unequivalent to anything else, takes 3, 4, 5 hours just to set up a hot foil press. Usually you finish the job on the Scodix by that time.
Yeah. So that means that because of the long setup times on the hot foil, the speed is maybe less important, especially on up to 10,000 sheets, basically, right? That's what you say.
Yeah. And the molds and dies, which are also very expensive, and you do it one-off per job.
Yeah.
Very mechanical process. It takes usually 3-4 days before you get even the first prototype to see it. And here on the Scodix, you throw in the PDF file and you get it out, and you can prove the job and start running it. It's not only the setup; it's also the preparation.
So I have seen some of your visit some of your customers. I have seen your output. I can warrant that everything looks perfect, and I also can warrant that your customers are very happy with investments. Then I have a little question to you, and that is, it's not trying to be critical or anything. I'm just a little bit curious, because if the quality is in place, if the economy is in place, what is then the obstacle to get the machines into the market? Is it conservatism, or is it the entry point investment wise, or what is, or is it just because people not know enough about your offerings yet, or what do you think is the biggest obstacle?
I think in your question you named the main obstacles, but it's conservatism, and usually you see it as in our customer side that the second generation is the one who is deciding to buy the digital equipment.
I have seen that too, yeah.
Yeah, you've seen it. We see it all over. The second generation in a company, if it's a family-based company, he's the one who's jumping into the water and going digital. In many cases, the first digital equipment on the floor, on the production floor, is a Scodix.
Yeah.
Okay. The only PC on the floor is a Scodix PC. Okay, and the rest is analog. That's the main thing. Second, we are still a small company, and our footprint in the market, although we have more than 400 installations worldwide, but it's still nothing compared to the potential that we have. And we see an effect of companies starting, and then their next competition across the street is buying, and so on and so forth. So it takes time. I think that the web-to-print customers are doing great service for us when they are selling a customized, personalized, hot foil stamped product, either business cards or greeting cards or whatever. Mm-hmm. It's a very cultural issue. Okay, every country has its own habits of buying printed products, as you know. Yeah. But as I said, we're still in the beginning of the way, and we're growing rapidly. And
okay, so let me, we have been talking for half an hour now, so let me, then maybe from my perspective, a little ending point could be saying that the biggest obstacle is not the product, it's not the price, and not the conservatism, but your time to visit enough customers, right?
Especially in those days, yes.
So Eli, I know that you had some takeaways that you wanted to talk about. Have you forgot anything? I have not read anything, just for the audience to know, but I also want you to give this opportunity. Is there something that we need to talk about that you would like to discuss?
I think we covered most of it.
Wow, and I didn't even practice, right?
Yeah, it was a good first shot. I'm just inviting everyone to visit our website and to see the new product portfolio. It was launched 2 weeks ago. Very exciting, much wider portfolio, much better offering. We're here for you.
But you know, you are on English TV. That's a little bit unfair. You should say that you should go to English TV and see all the beautiful films we have done for you, right? I think that's more
They
fair.
are on our website. They're in front of our website, and thank you for this.
I know. Ellie Greenberg, CEO and founder of Scodix, and really interesting conversation. I'm really happy about it. So I just want to say thank you very much for your time, and I wish you all the best, both as a company and personal health. I know that we are all struggling from the terrible time we are in right now, but you look nice and healthy. So all the best, and thank you.
Thank you, Morten.